Hello and welcome to Smart Men's Business. Today is actually Thursday and we are winding up the week. Yeah, I know the feeling of it being closer to the end of the month. Anyway, my name is Masikatsime and of course here to kickstart your day. But of course we are here to give you information that you need on a daily regarding business. If you missed out on anything, whether sports, with entertainment, anything but concerning business, we are here. Anyway, it's just 1 minute past 7 a.m. We're going to drive you all the way to 9 a.m. Of course, right about now, I am with Godwin Batuma, taking you all the way. Good morning.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Smart Men's Business. I hope everyone is tuned in and ready to get to work. It's Thursday already, so that means we're almost to the end of the week. So I know a lot of you guys are excited, but this is not the time to stop. We have a lot of interesting topics to discuss today, especially with the upcoming Energy Week next week. So there's so many conversations regarding science and technology, and a lot of that we're going to dive into what that means and what the state of science and technology is right now in Uganda as well as Africa.
Well, of course, don't forget that the markets in Zabu are going to be open at 8:15 a.m. So if you need to invest in government bond securities, Zabu says don't need to make long queues, no hassle. They have a button phone, but they have a smartphone. Zabu says your money is your future. So you can reach out to Zabu if you dial *292#, and of course you can follow those prompts. Okay, you can learn about the product, or you can go straight to the bonds and of course the maturity periods in which you want your money to mature in. But investment is as low as 15,000 Ugandan shillings. 15,000 is the lowest that you can go for. And of course, just a reminder, today is Thursday and Zabu is operational from Monday to Friday from 8:15 a.m. to 3:15 p.m. except for public holidays and weekends, which weekend is just a few days from now. Zabu says your money, your future, and all that part of Otex East Africa, telling you to do something new. Well, this conversation of today, the next week actually is going to, like Godwin said, it's going to be dedicated to science, technology, and innovations in Uganda, and we're going to be looking at the progress of science and technology, how people are embracing technology, science, innovation. Are we being innovative enough, or we're just seated waiting for people to go outside Uganda, outside Africa, to be innovating? It's really embarrassing, actually. Not embarrassing, disappointing for someone to go out of their country just to be innovative in some other country. Really, I mean, why wouldn't you incorporate the knowledge you have to develop your country?
I know it's an interesting conversation regarding science and technology. I mean, Masi, we had that conversation around how IT is being taught to the more marginalized communities, the young, poor, and women, especially in rural areas. The conversation around AI systems, the conversation around ICT is a continuous conversation, if you notice, that we've been having regarding business. So this is the future. So we're looking at the state of science and technology in Uganda, right? So we're seeing here that the state of science and technology in Uganda is improving out there, and are still many challenges. We still have many challenges to overcome before we get to where we need to get to. So today we're really tackling Uganda. We're seeing here Uganda is ranked 119th. Can you imagine? Out of 132 countries in the global innovation under 2022, which is down from 102 in 2019. This suggests that Uganda is not yet a major player in the global innovation landscape, but is making progress. So we still have a lot of work to do, but we still have a lot of ways to go.
Well, some of the developments we've seen over time is the COVID-19, when we actually we have this development of the vaccines. You know, I think COVID-19 was the eye-opener, and of course government was like, you know what, how about we use our scientists so that we could come up with vaccines for malaria, Ebola, COVID-19, mostly malaria, because I mean, malaria is almost everywhere in the country except for COVID-19. I don't know if they've actually gotten the vaccine, but that is also progress. And of course,
I mean, the idea that we're getting our passports much faster than we used to get them. If you, from the old school times, you understand that you had to wait for your passport for over 6 months, sometimes 3 months to get them. But of course, there's been an advancement in the technology sphere. They've understood that trying to cut those waiting lines. I've actually waited in line for a passport, and I saw people fight because the wait was too long. You understand? So we're understanding as a government that, listen, we have to cut through this bureaucracy. We have to be able to advance our technology to expedite the process because it's getting too long. We're seeing here that the Ugandan government has recognized the importance of science and technology for economic development, which is important, and has made some investments in the sector in 2016. We're seeing that the Ministry of Science and Technology and Innovation was created to oversee the development and implementation of science and technology policy. So the government has also established a number of research institutes and centers. So we see here, such as the Uganda National Council for Science and Technology and the Uganda Industrial Research Institute. So there have been mods in place to make sure that science and technology is bolstered, although we're still 116 out of 130. That's ridiculous, but we have ways to go. But we're putting
at least we are, much better than those ones that are in the 20s and.
It's ridiculous. We're still hundreds. So we're also seeing here that, however, there are still a number of challenges that need to be addressed in order for Uganda to fully realize the potential for science and technology. One challenge is the lack of investment in research and development. And this is such a huge conversation that we need to have, Mercy, right? There's not enough research in this sphere. Because I think most Ugandans are still looking at IT as one of those courses that hobby. Yes, Ugandans still look at IT as a hobby, the same way they still look at art and crafts as a hobby. It's not a real job. So when someone is saying, I'm doing IT, there's this science, there's this discourse around, are you not a doctor? Why aren't you an engineer? We have the basics for, we have the basic for engineer, doctor, what else is there? Engineer, doctor, whatever, the top three
pilot,
professions, pilot. But we never really look at IT as a viable profession. But we're now starting to see that, especially with this innovation, a lot of the world, especially economically, runs on science and technology. So I am glad that we're starting to create institutes around this.
I think that is the reason as to why maybe the Ministry of Education and Sports is putting much emphasis on science teachers, because they want these kids to embrace science, despite maybe with the new curriculum, maybe using the local language, kids would understand more,
No, that's you've actually made a really good point regarding the curriculum, right? Especially for kids in the rural areas. This is we talked about a school in Kawale that is completely dilapidated. It's not safe for education. It's that bad. We covered the story yesterday in the national news. So if we're able to get IT, especially for the rural areas, the more marginalized communities, if we're able to understand how can we sort of, because I'm pretty sure in China, they're learning IT. They're one of the best IT science and technology experts in the world, if you look at China, but I'm pretty sure a lot of Chinese don't speak English. I'm pretty sure. So how are they learning that IT? So they're able to optimize or put that into place where they can still learn their IT technology, science and technology in the Chinese language. So if we're able to adapt and optimize that, so our everyday person, the Ugandan person, is able to learn.
Anyway,
so that's a good point.
Okay, the only issue would be, it actually just because that we have different languages in Uganda. Some speak Luganda, some speak Lugisu, Nyankore, but anyway, whichever language is more comfortable for the students, it is what is best. Anyway, for sciences, we're seeing the performance actually is not that bad. If you look at the performance for last year and the uptake of students taking up science courses, is a little bit higher compared to others, because now they realize the importance of science. Like, oh my goodness, there is money. Okay, there is money, there are huge opportunities, and now people are like, you know what, I think I should go like for a certificate and do IT, something like that.
That's an incredibly important point, because back in the day, they weren't paying IT experts that well. They weren't paying digital experts, web designers that well. But now we're seeing the advent of so much change, especially with the AI systems. If you notice, if you look at our trend of our conversations, we've been talking about AI systems a lot and ICT. So if you're clever, you would take a course. Right? Because we're seeing that change. And what you talk about, it was not properly advertised. Some of these courses need to be properly advertised. Being a doctor, being an engineer. Those are courses that were advertised as you've made it in life, you're making a lot of money. But you're finding engineers and doctors sometimes aren't making as much. But now you find an IT person working in Silicon Valley makes way more than a doctor, a medical doctor. Silicon Valley in the UK, sorry, in the US, makes way more than a doctor. So we're seeing that it's starting to be advertised as a marketable course, science and technology. So we're seeing there's some specific examples of recent developments in science and technology in Uganda. We're seeing here in 2022, the Ugandan government launched the Kira, which is EVS, the country's first electric bus. We're seeing here the bus was developed by Kira Motors Corporation, a Ugandan company that was founded in 2007. So that's really huge, right? And
it's really huge. And the only challenge is that now it was one bus. It was just a prototype, just an example of maybe how things would be. But anyway, it's just that maybe we do not have the required equipment, for us to start having our own manufacturing cars.
I think sponsorship. Are we putting enough money behind?
I think the only big thing we can do is assembling the vehicles ourselves. But the rest, the machines or what, no.
It all comes back to the money. If we're putting money behind this kind of innovations, we need to. Because I remember there was the first person who made that car. There was a young Makere student who made that car.
Was he?
I don't think he was properly compensated. I don't think he was properly advanced. You might find right now he's working in the UK.
Do you know, like in the US, making such an innovation, my goodness, you didn't even get yourself the Wall of Fame star.
I mean, you'll be fully supported. You put funding behind this person. We need to put funding behind these young minds, young intelligent brains who are putting things together, especially in the space of science. I believe
maybe it could be one of the courses or maybe a subject in school. Science and innovation, like where you see now kids like in the US, they have those projects where they have robots walking around. So it's good because now, when you're young, that is when you're active. Growing up, I saw my brother making a fan out of a lid of Omo with a magnet and a battery.
Interesting, right? And we used to have those telecom lines that we used to have where you could speak from here to there. But this is sort of the science space is not advertised enough. It's almost advertised as difficult. And one thing you can don't like is difficult. But these are not difficult. They should be advertised as fun. And what you said is really important. Is being able to recognize the talents amongst these kids. These kids that like to fix things, right? They could be young engineers, kids that like to fix stuff, come up with innovations. We need to be able to promote that. Put schools put funding behind that.
But it all begins from school.
It does.
It all begins from school, from the young ones right there. They're in school. You've seen how we used to do cars, these wire cars, the ones you would just put your... It was actually good, actually.
It does.
But then, the other thing I feel like is the issue is the kids lack motivation, really. You're going to see a science teacher coming in, they look exhausted, they're not giving you morale, you're like, okay.
Yeah. The science teacher himself feels like, listen, this is a hard job.
And they give you negative.
We need, that's why I'm huge on, we need to fund certain courses, fund certain subjects that we know are huge for the economy, promote them, promote math, science amongst young girls.
Just imagine I was going to do medicine and I'm seeing doctors striking and I'd be like,
Oh, you see now teachers who are striking, we're thinking, who wants to be a teacher? Now we have ghost teachers, right? So we're also seeing in 2021, Makerere University launched the Makerere Innovation and Incubation Center. So we see, which is a facility that provides support to technology startups. The center is funded by the World Bank and the government of Uganda. And we're also seeing in 2022, we're going backwards, the Ugandan government launched the National Science, Technology and Innovation Policy, very important policy. The policy aims to promote the development and the use of science and technology to drive economic growth and social development. So there are methods, there are modes we put in place to be able to promote, but there's still ways to go regarding that.
Well, of course, that is it for our morning call, and of course, more conversations are going to be rotating around the state of science, technology and innovation in Uganda, even Africa as a whole. As you can see, we're in the hundreds, so we got to make sure that at least we are in the teens. No, who knows, we could be among the very first. Anyway, let's get to see what is happening in the press. Now, the news making headlines on Twitter and WhatsApp. Hey, what is happening in East Africa? We're going to host the first ever. We're going to have the first ever AFCON championships in Uganda, Tanzania, and Kenya. But
that is huge. How do you feel
it
about
is
that?
huge.
We talked about that yesterday.
It is very huge. But my concern is one: if Uganda is ready. Anyway, we're going to talk about that in sports. But then, for those that didn't know, East Africa, okay, the East Africa, most people know, Uganda, Tanzania, and Kenya are going to be hosting the AFCON 2023 Cup championship. So get ready to have investors coming in, get ready to have tourists coming in. So really, we have a lot of work to do in 3 years.
A lot of work, and I hope, listen, that's how you're going to see people trying to steal funding. People are going to come
you know, this reminds me of Chogam. This actually,
I'm telling you, look at all the failed Chogam projects. It's one of those things that we have to have checks and balances this time around. We need to have the corruption board properly on board this time. We're also seeing here in the national news in New Vision, China-Uganda relations at highest peak. So we see here, first Deputy Prime Minister of East African Affairs, Rebecca Kadaga, with the Deputy Chinese Ambassador for Uganda, Fan Zhuang, toasting to the 74th anniversary of the founding of the People's Republic of China at the Sheraton, Kampala yesterday on Tuesday. So you can check that out on the first page of the New Vision.
Well, of course, and government plans to upgrade 3 airports. Minister of Works Transport, that is General Katumba Wamala, said that government plans to expand Kasese, Arua, and Kidepo airports to promote tourism.
That's all about promoting tourism here. And we're also seeing here Vision Group to have footprint in South Africa. So we see here, are you a businessman, company or corporation seeking to work in South Korea? Vision Group will be the place to find business opportunities in the East Asian country. So Vision Group, the parent entity of New Vision newspaper, signed a memorandum of understanding with the Korea Times, the leading newspaper that publishes in English in South Africa. So those are opportunities for you to look out for.
I don't think we're going to survive AFCON because now it's everywhere. It's everywhere on how hotel owners are excited. They're going to now renovate and refurbish.
But I hope they're doing a good job, not a quick job. They should be checks and balances.
No, but 3 years is a long time anyway.
It's not a long time when you're trying to get things up to snuff. People are going to start building from scratch. In 3 years. There are buildings that take over 5 years to build to the level that they should be. We're also seeing in the national news, government announces changes in schools teacher education. So the government has announced a set of changes in teacher instruction and learning modules in schools. Under the new guidelines, all teachers at both private and government institutions will be required to undertake a module in special needs education.
Yeah, they should do modules. It's good. It's good.
It's interesting how you're having conversations around teaching and the teaching curriculum, right? For a minute now.
Anyway, I didn't know actually that animals could actually be donors of some human parts.
Well, is that the pig?
Yeah.
Yeah, the pig the first pig donor. Yes, I've heard about that one. And we're also seeing here 57 government entities cited in She's 2.4. So we're seeing here the government spent She's 2.48 trillion on land acquisition and compensation in the last 4 financial years. So, but much of it was irregularly registered, and some of it is still, can you imagine, encumbered.
Anyway, NSSF lost 1 trillion due to foreign exchange losses. That is in for those that are into those that save with NSSF. Get more of the new the Daily Monitor. Resolution of claims scores lowest in insurance survey. This and more when you get yourself a copy.
And also this very important
Daily
conversation
Monitor.
about the trillion irregular land deals, obviously, that we've had. We're seeing here, when contacted Lands Minister Judith Nawako to learn about the accounting irregularities discovered and the huge sums of money spent. So you can check that out in the New Vision this morning.
Well, of course, that is the traffic update, and we are along Wandagere Road. And of course, as you can see, those that are coming in from the city center, there is a My goodness, why is the traffic so much today in the morning? It's just 7. Those that are coming in from the city center, I see there's a lot of traffic, you know.
People are rushing to get paid, I think. It's the end of the month. Because yesterday there was no traffic at all at this time. At 7:21 specifically, I said this particular area. This is the area, isn't that?
Wonderful.
It is interesting, guys. If you're trying to get to work now, you're going to struggle because the jam is heavy. People are rushing to get to work so they can get their pay.
Really? Yeah. I know. It's going to.
No, they have to make sure they clean out the month really properly. It's the review day for some companies. So it's what's happening.
They have to give reports.
You have to give your annual, your monthly report, performance reports, and they have to be, the performance reviews as well. So we're seeing that road is busy. It's moving, but it's extremely chaotic.
That side coming in from Bombo.
My goodness, that is Wandegate area. Look at how chaotic that is. It's moving, but it's chaotic. So the borders are moving with it. So if you're coming from that side, going all the way to town, you should be able to run into a bit of jam, but the jam seems to be steadily moving. It's a moving jam. It's not a jam that's stuck, which is okay, but it's 7:21 only. So imagine what's going to happen at 8. This is what happens normally at midday. You know,
actually, today is a Thursday. Thursday is actually reserved prayer day for some people.
I see. Oh, yeah, so they have that's in the evening.
No, it could be someone is rushing to go to work so that by midday they are leaving.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So that's
I want you to notice actually here and the roundabout here, Garden City. I want you to notice there is traffic.
Oh, interesting. So for prayer, I never recognized that, but that's an interesting perspective. But as we can see,
there is actually traffic, cars coming in from Garden City side, those that are coming in from Mulago, those that are coming in from that very side. The traffic is always get the cars about 5 minutes, and in the evening it's so intense. People are stuck there for 10 minutes. You know, because a lot of cars come from the city center, so they have to.
So those people who are coming from Wandegate side, as if bleeding into Bukoto, Chira side, Owen Road, and then you're bleeding into the Garden City Road, I think you might be running into a bit of jam. It's only 7:21, 7:23 right now.
I think that is going to Nakasero.
Now going, heading to Nakasero side. Yes. Okay. Oh, listen. The jam is about to get heavy. I can predict this.
But you realize that there are very few cars that use that side, except for maybe for those that take their kids to Sao Paulo.
So where are all these people going?
Sao Paulo. They're going to the city center.
Exactly. So they're going to meet the jam. Either they're coming from a further place and they have to meet that roundabout and move. It's like that connection point. The same way this access road is a connection point. Everywhere there's a roundabout, you have to meet. And unfortunately, the jam catches you.
Yeah.
So it's steadily moving.
Yeah, steadily moving. People are. I know that road is actually very hard to cross. There's a lot of cars moving and borders.
And Uganda is interesting how we're fighting, the borders are fighting with the
I actually, yesterday, I don't know how people with bicycles, it's very intense. You can get knocked over when you have a bicycle, and they're also competing with the border.
And what's shocking to me is when a bicycle and a border is in front of a moving car and they don't want to move. Move to the side. Borders are so entitled here. They'll be moving beeping as well with the cars. I'm like, I know that's a whole machine you should not be competing with.
Yes.
But yes, as we can see, it's steadily moving. That is the roundabout, as you can see on air. So one of the things I would encourage everyone to do is please get out of the house now before it gets too crazy. So we're seeing the road.
Look at the cars coming in from Nankulabe, they're coming in from Sao Paulo Road. Oh my goodness.
Guys, rush to work, you're going to get paid. So we're seeing there's so many cars rushing in from Nankulabe side, Chikoni.
Yes.
That area is very, very busy. So I bet those cars, some of them are coming from Rubaga side, from Nankulabe side.
Chikoni doesn't have
others are coming from Mengo.
Chikoni is for campus.
Because look at that.
Yeah.
Look at that road. Makere Road.
Makere Road.
Makere has a lot.
But most of them come from Sao Paulo.
Kagwa,
Sao Paulo.
Mengo side.
Yeah.
Mengo. Rubaga. So a lot of these cars are coming in from Mengo, Rubaga side and all bleeding. Nankulabe and bleeding into this. Kasubi. So all these people are rushing to work. It's almost the last day of the month. Is it not the 28th
Yes,
of September? So please, people, rush to work as you should, because it's 7 and I've never seen this many cars on the road.
They may award you for being early.
Finish those reports in time. It's quite important.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
But anyway, that is what is happening around the Wandagea Road, Bombo Road, and the road that leads to the city center. And of course, get yourself ready. You see how they are. Most of when there's no traffic officer, you look at the you see
That's
the
a very
confusion.
important point. There isn't a traffic officer in sight.
She is there.
That shows how
she is there,
she's
but
there,
then
but she's barely-
people
oh, she's
almost
there.
collide. They actually too. But
They're
people
actually
almost collide
respecting.
like DD.
But don't we need to have more traffic lights in place? I don't understand the value of the traffic.
There is a time I think
Other countries just have robots. They call them robots or traffic lights. We don't need a traffic police officer. Sometimes I feel like-
people are disobedient. Do you know how
But also, that's not a
borders
machine. A person is not a machine. You're going to be biased. You're going to look at this time. You're going to make that line wait for 20 minutes just because you're pissed off with the person on the front. That's my
No,
theory.
but of course you know how Uganda is. You put the lights, the border guy will go, even if it's on red.
So we need someone to come and say, boss, come first."
Yeah. They need to blow the whistle, and you know it's time to go.
But
Because
that's
I know
that's the culture.
Ugandans,
think
I
that's
know
the
borders.
culture around us,
You see,
yeah.
even with a traffic officer, you can see a border just pass.
But we need discipline, my goodness. Other countries have this.
Oh my goodness! Anyway, that Uganda, Zabo. Anyway, that is it. Talking of Zabo, if you want to invest in government bonds security, if you want to invest in government bonds securities, Zabo says your money, your future, and they're powered by Alltech East Africa, telling you to do something new. So you can reach out to them if you dial *292#. That is the USSD code. So you can learn about the product, or you can go straight to the bonds part. They're telling you investment is as low as 15,000 Ugandan shillings. So the lowest is 15 Ugandan shillings. 15,000 Ugandan shillings. So whether you have a button phone, whether you have a smartphone, whichever phone you have, just dial *292# and invest, okay? And today is Thursday, throwback Thursday, like some of them say, from Monday to Friday. Zabo is operational from 8:15 a.m. to 3:15 p.m. Zabo says your money, your future. They are powered by Alltech East Africa, telling you to do something new. And of course, it's just a few minutes, and of course, 28 minutes past 7 a.m. And of course, Smart Business Girls for a short breather. We shall be back with East Africa and international business news. Don't go away.